Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Food is Numbers. I am your probably not AI generated host. Are you AI generated? Go away. Today, oatmeal. Whether you are cutting or bulking, oatmeal is probably a staple in your pantry. It's super versatile. You can do high and low calorie with it. You can change the flavor. You can do savory, sweet. You can bake with it. Today, we're just gonna do a couple of simple recipes, my personal favorites, and we're going to start with the high calorie this time for reasons I will explain later. Now, these are large flake oats. This is my personal preference. You can use steel cut. Those are like much smaller, much finer grains. I prefer the texture of these. The steel cut gets a little mushy in my opinion. These sort of hold their shape a lot more. You give it a nicer texture in my opinion, but you can use either one. For the high calorie, we are going to start with a base of whole milk. About 300 milliliters of this, which is about 1 1/3 cups. Now you could do this in the microwave. I think there's instructions on here for how to do that. I never have personally. I'm going to do this on the stovetop, so we can actually see it over there. So let's go do that. Okay, so in here, I cooked about 80 grams of oats, let it rest for a bit, and this is the texture we get. It's looking pretty good. This high calorie recipe is really gonna be a treat. It's gonna be quite tasty, and it also takes a fair bit of time to cook on the stovetop, but ultimately it will be worth it. So to our oats, we are going to add a scoop of chocolate protein powder. Diesel, again, my favorite, hashtag not sponsored. Stir that in a bit to start. Go slow, try not to make a huge mess of the place, like I always do. Okay, perfect. Next, about a tablespoon or 20-ish grams of Nutella. And while it's still nice and warm, about 15 grams or a tablespoon-ish of chocolate chips. Semi-sweet, please. Scoop that into the vessel of your choice, or just eat it out of the pot, whatever. I don't judge. And there you have it. Extremely decadent oats. Let's give it a try. Yeah, oh man, that is dessert. Really good texture. You can also change the texture up by cooking it a little bit longer. That will make it softer. I prefer mine to be a little al dente, for lack of a better word. But if you like yours to be a little softer, then you just cook them a little bit longer. But on that note, I mentioned earlier that this can take about 10 to 15 minutes to cook. And if I'm having oatmeal, generally, I don't want to do that. I want it as fast as possible and as easy as possible. And standing over a pot of milk, stirring constantly for 15 minutes, not really how I want to do things. So for the low calorie version, I'm going to show you a secret trick that makes it much easier. Get this side of the, actually just. Here we have the same amount of oats, 80 grams. I'm not sure if I mentioned that earlier. Whatever, 80 grams of oats. This is an electric kettle. As you can see, the water in it is already boiling. I'm gonna dump that straight onto my oats. We want just enough to cover all of them. Not too much, otherwise it won't all absorb. All right, that looks perfect. And then we cover this. Doesn't have to be a perfect cover. It can be a little bit open, whatever. We just wanna keep most of the heat inside. And now you wait 10 minutes. Okay, our 10 minutes is up. In that 10 minutes, I actually polished off all of the other oatmeal. Today was leg day, so I'm gonna use that as my justification. Look at that. I didn't stand over the stove. I didn't stir anything, but perfectly cooked oatmeal, 10 minutes, no problem at all with an electric kettle. A side note here, if you have a rice cooker, you can just use that. It will make your oats perfectly every single time. But I don't, sadly, so I have to use the kettle. Now, for the low-calorie version, which we're doing here, I'm going to show you my personal favorite flavor combination, and it starts with birthday cake protein powder. Stir that in again, carefully. Don't fling it all over the counter. Okay, nice. Next, 1 to 2 tablespoons, we're just gonna do one here, of peanut butter. I prefer the crunchy for the added texture. You can use smooth if you want, I guess. A little off topic here. I always scoop half of the peanut butter jar out for reasons I can't really explain, but mix that up. And that's it. Simple, right? Now, this bowl of oats right here, just a shade over 500 calories with about 30 something grams of protein. I forget exactly. I want to say 37. Anyway, the information will appear over here and will correct me, I'm sure. In both cases, I used about 80 grams of oats. I thought about using the single serving, which is 40 grams, but it's kind of a sad meal. It doesn't really fill you up. So even for the cutting version, for someone my size anyway, I would recommend using 2 servings, so 80 grams of oats. What is that? 2/3 of a cup or 80 grams of oats for a substantial meal. Again, about 500 calories for a meal this size. It's gonna keep you full for several hours. That's a good deal. And this particular flavor combination, the birthday cake protein powder with peanut butter, is my personal favorite. But again, feel free to experiment. There's lots of different flavors of protein powder out there. There's lots of different additives. You can essentially tailor oatmeal to be anything you want it to be. You could even make savory oats, I'm told. I haven't. I think that's weird. Maybe I will. But as a wise man once said, that's another show. Yeah, something about the birthday cake and the peanut butter just really speaks to me. Anyway, give it a try, see if you like it. Let me know what you do with your oatmeal. I'm always curious to find out new recipes, and I think that's it. Ooh, I'm gonna put a link to a video over here. You should probably watch that one next if you like this one. And if not, either way, have a good day. Bye.